African Americans in this country are the only groups. They have no culture. It depends on who you meet, where you meet them. Name 2 taboos in the African American cultural system.
To say that Black Americans have no culture boldly is to admit publicly that you're unqualified to continue your conversation.
You did not answer the question. So you started by showing a random video of Africans dressed in hip-hop like, saying that they were emulating Black American.
When people were saying that African Americans did not have culture, I got on this app and I said, no, that's not true. I said that African American culture, it's just globalized and it's just practiced by almost every single culture in the world. And because it's globalized, and not only globalized but monetized, that
African Americans are going through an identity crisis right now, and there's a lot of misinformation on the internet about who we truly are. Let's talk about it, shall we? My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. In all my years in the Black community, I have never been to a cookout where somebody was making a teepee in a campfire. And yet, for some reason, in the past 4 years, I have seen more and more Black people in America say that they are Native, Indigenous, or Aboriginal.
Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? So it's another day. Let's talk about the Black Americans. So the Black Americans are being accused of the only inhabitants who don't have a culture. So according to the Black Americans, they say they always copy cultures from Nigeria, South Africa, in fact from Africa as a whole, and they will come out to defend themselves that, oh no, stop saying like that about us, we do have a culture. Like if you ask, for instance, a Black American, what's your traditional meal, they will tell you pizza, shawarma, burger, you know, the kind of food, right? But is that really a traditional meal? Oh, there was last year something happened between the Black Americans and the South Africans where this Zulu parade was taking place and South Africans accused them of copying their culture. So Black Americans, what is really your culture? What's your culture all about? When it comes to culture, your traditional meal, what is it all about? Can you tell us in the comment section? Anyway guys, are you new on this channel? Have you subscribed or not? If you haven't, don't forget to subscribe. Please take a look and watch this video.
Black Americans are the only ethnic group that are at home in our home country that everybody tries to tell and convince that they are not at home and they are not in their own country. Think about it. No other group on this entire earth goes through that. Nobody says that to any other group. We're the
culture. First of all, hip-hop is a culture of its own, okay? And these kids are not emulating Black American culture. They are emulating their favorite rappers or whatever. Everybody does that in every single music genre. Fans emulate their artists. Then you talked about twerking, saying that twerking came from Africa. That is true, okay? The art of shaking your behind as a dance came from Africa. But you will never see African women randomly twerking in the streets. The only time you will see these women shake their behind is when they're having a ceremony that requires them to shake their behind. And that's how the art of shaking your behind becomes cultural. Because it's not just shaking your behind on its own, it's shaking your behind while traditional music is playing, while you are dressed traditionally, and while you are having a traditional.
That's why it seems like African Americans don't have culture. I got over 10,000 views and hundreds of likes. When people are saying that Black immigrants Black immigrants are way more successful than African Americans. A Black immigrant myself, I pointed out the fact that the way the immigration system is set up for Black immigrants, it's very difficult for somebody who is not educated or hardworking to come to America, period. And that's why Black immigrants like me seem like we're more educated and seem like we're more hardworking and all of that. That's why we seem like we're doing better than African Americans. I did that. I defended African Americans in that way. But when I got on this app and said that African Americans are from West Africa,
only ones where people will literally try to displace us from America and try to put us into an unknown, unspecified location or region and not understand why we don't see it the way that they see it. Not understand why we can't view ourselves as not American. Like why do we see ourselves as American, not realizing that identity, heritage, culture is not based on ancestral DNA. It's based off of lived experience. It's based off of proximity. It's based off of what you were taught by your parents and your grandparents and your great grandparents down a genealogical line. And if there's something that it goes beyond what can be traced by genealogy, whatever came before that is not going to have an effect on that person's identity and how they see themselves culturally, heritage, or anything. People online will constantly try to convince me that I'm not American, that I don't belong here, that I'm supposed to be in some unknown, unspecified random location in West Africa, and that I'm supposed to feel more connected to the people that are over there simply because they share a phenotype or a hair texture or a skin color. Collectively, they share more of that than some of the people who are in my home country, who, because there's all different races that live over here. So people would try, and they cannot for the life of them understand why I don't feel more connected to the people in West Africa than I do to my own people over here in the United States. They really don't get it. And I think that what it is that because America is seen as a white nation, it's actually not even that America is seen as a white nation. It's seen as a corporation, and it's seen as like a quick lick money hustle. It's not seen as a real place. It's seen as more like this Disneyland, whimsical kind of fantasy land that's not real, that doesn't have any real culture, and that anybody who is not of the Native American, Indian, tribal groups, ultimately is just an immigrant that doesn't belong there, that just built a life there just so that they can build an economy for themselves. And as a Black American, I cannot view it that way. There's no way. I can't see outside. I can't see it the way that other people see it. I don't see America the way that migrants do. And I think that that's the thing. That's the disconnect. They see me, and then they don't associate me with America, and they don't understand why I see myself as American and why I don't see myself as African, even though I have no connection to anybody that lives over there. None. Not doesn't matter what the country is. There's no connection. But people just don't get it.
To America. And they use two justifications for this. One is that Black people were here before Columbus, which really makes no sense to me, because even when they get their DNA results back, it'll say you have a little bit of Native American in them, but I have not seen one person Black as me or Blacker show their DNA results, and it says that they are 100% Native American. I mean, the whole reason you're saying you're not African is because you're saying that you didn't come here through the transatlantic slave trade. So then why do you have African DNA? The second thing that doesn't make sense to me that I hear pretty often is when they say that you've never seen a slave ship, slave ships don't exist. And my question to that is, how do you think white people got here? Can anyone find the Mayflower or the Santa Maria? Like, how far are we willing to go into denying our own history just to avoid acknowledging our painful past? Are we going to deny other people's history too? Oh, but they don't want us to know who we truly are. That's why they keep it hidden. Then why is it that every pretendian is alive and well, but the scholars that taught us we were African are the ones that got unalive or silenced by the U.S. government? Make it make sense.
As an African American, I believe that some Americans who refer to themselves as Egyptians and Hoteps need to leave Egyptian history alone and research our own history. Most of our ancestors came from West and Central Africa. Yes, some African Americans may have a little bit of East and North African DNA, but most of us are primarily of West and Central African descent. We need to stop telling Egyptians who they are and start understanding who we are, okay?
And a lot of what y'all think is Black American culture is really Caribbean and African culture. Like I said in one of my last videos, the Black community in America, like, might have been the only Black community that really existed with unity, that died in like the 80s and the 90s. Now, I posted this on Facebook, and some people said no, it died in the 70s. And people want to blame this death on mass incarceration, the welfare, the crack epidemic, but I don't think that's true, because everybody's family, every Black American family was not affected by it. But what every black American in America was affected by is the Immigration Act in 1965. What we were affected by was hip hop going from hip hop music to stripper music in the 80s and 90s because of Uncle Luke Caribbean Act. Now, I'm not saying I don't like, I fuck with my Caribbean cousins, but I feel like a lot of other people's culture and political views and aesthetic and behaviors was kind of intertwined into the black American community. A lot of blacks came over from their country to America and assimilated with black American culture. It happened way back then where there was no social media, there was nothing. So a lot of what didn't belong.
One thing for sure, black Americans are the only people, when you tell them they don't have culture, they are going to argue about it. They are going to argue about it. Do you know why they argue about it? Because black Americans are still finding it difficult to identify with their root, which is from Africa. Black Americans are the only people who say, no, we are not from Africa. Same like South Africans. South Africa will say, oh no, we are South Africans. We are not from Africa, just because they have white people living in their country. That's the same mentality that black Americans also have. Nevertheless, guys, if you're new on this channel, you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your comment. Tell me in the comment section, because I do know I have viewers coming from America. So what's the culture of black Americans? Please tell us, what's your traditional meal, your attire, what does it look like? What does it look like? Because at the end of the day, if you put on something, always looks like something from Africa. Nevertheless, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in our next video. Bye.